Chodesh Tov, Shavua Tov. We're a new parasha, a new month. It's a new way of thinking because tonight, a month from now, 4 weeks, we're celebrating the new year. Okay? And that means that the Torah must prepare us for that purpose. So, what are we doing over here? It speaks about, the name of the parasha is Shoftim, which means judges. Not exactly. In Hebrew, it doesn't mean judges. It means Shofet is something else, we'll come to it. Oh, we already spoke about it in the past, but we have to understand. Because judges, in Hebrew, you say Dayanim, not Shoftim. Because the word judgment is Din, judges are Dayanim. So what is a Shofet? I tried for years to look for a word for it in English, I couldn't find. If somebody knows, send it to me. Okay, but it says, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha b'chol sharecha. You should give judges and policemen in all your gates. So, of course, saying that is very important because in the superficial level, which means it's not superficial, it's like in the simple level, it's a mitzvah to have Shoftim v'shotrim, judges and policemen, a system like this. This is one of the 7 Noahide laws. This is a universal law. It is applied to Jews and non-Jews alike. This is already belongs to the 7 Noahide laws that Noah got out of getting out of the ark. Why is it a mitzvah? Isn't that logical? Oh, a lot of things that are logical are not necessarily mitzvah. But what makes it a mitzvah is something else, which is very, very important to understand. Very important to understand, especially in nowadays and age. Mitzvah means connecting the spiritual and the physical. God and His creation. The Creator and His creation in your action. How come a Shoftim, the law system, okay, the justice, the system of justice, and police is a mitzvah? And the answer is very important to understand. We all know how strong the evil inclination is. We all know how power gets people drunk. You know what happens to drunk people? They do stuff that is not necessarily in favor of their own interest. Same way people can get drunk from alcohol, they can get drunk from drugs, they get drunk from power. This is known for ages. Being a judge, being a policeman, being a politician, having power, controlling other people's life, saying yes, saying no, you know, this is not a very easy thing to deal with. Most people fall. Most people fall into the trap. That's why the difference between Mount Sinai revelation and what happened before, as we said, it didn't say on Mount Sinai revelation in the 2 tablets, it didn't say do not steal because it's not nice, or because and society cannot work when everybody steals. It said do not steal because the spiritual dimension of stealing is terrible. It doesn't serve your purpose. It depletes your soul. That's why do not steal. Why? Because every person said, you know, I shouldn't steal unless it's a lot of money and I have very few chances to be caught. Because if it's all just logical, if your logic tells you, you know what, steal and that's going to be a lot of money, you can do a lot of good things with that. They won't even notice. You have no chances to be caught. If it is logic, you will steal. And that's what people do. They steal. They steal a lot. A lot, a lot. That's why today it doesn't matter if you are from an American civilization, European, Africa, China, whatever. People steal in unprecedented dimensions. Why? Because the moment you get God out of your life, then logic takes over. And logic is about what's in it for me. What's in it for me? Why shouldn't I steal if I can? Why if it's not even stealing? I'm running the company, I'm the CEO, and with the board, we can take from the company a lot of money as a dividend and deplete the company, and then when the company falls, we stay with the money, who cares? So we cheated our stockholders, we cheated our workers, we cheated everybody. But who cares? I get the money, and you know what? I'm not a criminal. People don't do that. This is what the Torah is talking about. The Torah is talking about as if you have these rules of behavior, humanism, whatever you call justice, just coming out of logic, most chances, when you get into power, you're going to get drunk from power. Power corrupts. And then you're going to abuse the trust that is given to you as a politician, as it doesn't matter. Everyone who runs anything, and that's in the law system, and that's in the police system, because you don't understand that when you do something, it has to be as a mitzvah. What I mean a mitzvah? Because you want to team yourself with the Creator. Only when you team yourself with the Creator, you're going to have enough spiritual power to fight against your evil inclination and to win. Because if you are stealing your power, your respect, everything is stolen. We said in previous parashot, the moment it is stolen, you can only steal the onion skin. You cannot steal what's within the onion. And the result will be, you go around with tons of onion skins, which is good for nothing unless you want to have your chulent darker. Whoever knows what I'm talking about, it doesn't matter. It's just for the superficial. And that's why, as we said, the biggest plague of our generation, our day and age, people are so rich. Everybody has a nice house, everybody has a nice car, this and this and this, and people are miserable. And they need a remedy for it because everything is so empty. Everything is so superficial. And because you abuse the power. And Rav Ashlag is explaining again and again why love others as yourself is so powerful, so important. Because when you serve people, it doesn't matter as a rabbi or as a priest or as, somebody in the bank, you can make their day if you simply do your job. Why are you doing your job? Because you have one consciousness. The consciousness is, I'm serving people because that's my way to connect to the Creator. That's my mitzvah of today. If you do it this way, you're going to be always finding yourself getting full with spiritual energy, and that will give you the ability to grow bigger and bigger, to rise higher and higher. And there's nothing else in the world that you're looking for. Because, a car can come, a car can go. You can have a car, and then poof, it's gone. There was an accident. Your fault, somebody else's fault. Things happen. Oh, how many people they have the most fanciest car, and they're never happy. So they have a car or they don't have a car. They have the most fanciest house in the best location, and they're not happy. How do you know? They're never home. They're going here, they're going there, they have another house over there, and they're never over there also. And they're jumping from one place to another, and you see, they're not happy. Why they're not happy? How do you know that? They're not nice. When you're happy, you're nice. Why? You can't help it. That's very important. Rav Ashlag's secret, you cannot give what you don't have. So what is the purpose of the Shoftim? Okay, let's go forward. Shofet is not a judge. The judge, that's what judges think today. You have to get even. Take a revenge. The guy hurt society, we have to get even. Where does it say you should get even? If you go to the book of Leviticus, love others as you love yourself. This famous verse. You know how it starts? It's not the whole verse. The beginning of the verse, lo tikom velo titor. Do not take revenge and do not keep grudge. We're not here about revenge. What is shofet? Says Rabbi Brownwell. In Hebrew, somebody who offended somebody else. According to the spiritual law, the moment you offend somebody else, you take his property, you hurt him physically, you wound him, whatever. Okay? You inflict on him pain, discomfort. The moment you inflict pain on somebody else, you got out of your own balance because you cannot give what you don't have. The moment you're the cause for somebody else's pain, that pain arouses in you. Okay? So you cannot make other people miserable and stay happy. Impossible. You can make a show. You're happy. You're not. I checked it so many times. You're not. Cannot. Why? Because if you're happy, why would you hurt somebody else? The moment you're really happy, you cannot make other people be painful. It's impossible. It's against your nature. So, the purpose of what is called the shofet, wrongly translated as the judge, is not to get even. What mean to get even? How? By hurting somebody. Let's say there's a criminal. It was already proven, witnesses, whatever, that the guy is a criminal. He hurt many people. By hurting him, we're going to get it even? That's not getting even. You know, minus and another minus in a bank gets you always a bigger minus. I tasted it, it always works. If you are in the minus and you add a more minus, it's a bigger minus. It's never minus. Some people know minus and minus makes it plus. No, it does not. It does not. Another minus gets it a bigger minus and more painful minus. Remember that. So when you inflict pain on the criminal, now he's more painful. And you want it or not, he's part of your society. And if he has more pain, he's more dangerous. So how are you going to fix that? Says Rabbi, when somebody is out of balance, it's like out of balance. You know, ancient medicine says every human being, it's in Chinese medicine, it's in Jewish medicine, everywhere. Every human being is a composition of the four elements. Water, air, fire, earth. The moment he's out of balance, he's getting sick. Mentally, physically, whatever. There's too much water, too much earth, too much whatever. When the person is a criminal, he's out of balance. You need to balance him. Why do you need to balance him? Because it will cost you a lot if he's not balanced, right? Just think about it. Locking him in again and again. How much does that cost? Fortune, right? If you take all the people that are locked in American jails, this is, I think, the budget for that is bigger than many countries in Africa's budget. You know, you can solve the poverty problem of half of Africa just with the budget of the jail system in America. What do you do? And you know what? Whoever is incarcerated in a jail, he comes out as a righteous person, right? Wrong. Most of them go back. Why? Because it's not a correction facility. This is just wish-wash. You're trying to wash the terminology. It is a jail system. It is ugly. And it makes people, if they're addicted to crime, they're even more addicted when they get out because it doesn't correct them. How do I know? Statistics. Very simple. Most people will leave, they go back. You know, they have kind of a... So how do you solve it? So says Rabbi Branwine. You have water and you want the tea. You want tea. So how do you get the water turning into tea? You need fire, right? But if you put the water on the fire, the water either will put off the fire, right? Or the fire will evaporate the water and you stay with nothing. So what do you need? A pot. How do you say in Hebrew to put the water on the fire? Lishpot. With a taf. Lishpot, lo lishpoch. Lishpot. Lishpot. To put the pot on the what? Even pot, maybe it comes from that word, lishpot. Although it was a taf, but the taf and the tet replaces each other because the same sound. Why? Because the pot becomes a central column between the water and the fire. The water do not put off the fire, and the fire do not evaporate the water. So what's the job of the shofet? The job of the shofet, when somebody got off tracks, he's a criminal, which means he got off balance. The purpose of the shofet means, is to rebalance the person. What should we do in order to bring the person back into balance? We're not here to get even. We're not here to hurt him. He's part of us. The more he hurts, the more we hurt. It's like you cut your nose to spite your face. That's one way to say that you're doing something that is really unwise. So you hurt the criminal to improve society. That's cutting your nose to spite your face. You don't do that. It doesn't fix it. So, how do we do that? So the Zohar brings a verse. This is a verse from Psalms 75. And it says, Ki Elohim shofet, ze yashpil veze yarim. What do you mean, Ki Elohim shofet? It says like, because it's like simplistically, it's because God is a judge. No, it's not. Because Ki, the Zohar says, is right column. Explains why I don't want to go into it. Because it's the energy of water, energy. The word Ki, because Kaf and Yud, it says it comes to the letter Mem. Mem is water. Read the Zohar if you want. The first verse in Shoftim in the Sulam by Rabbi Ashlam. Okay? That's the energy of water. Elokim is the energy of fire. Shofet is the energy of central column. How? Ze yashpil veze yarim. Because the one who went too much high, which is somebody has too much fire, too much water, too much of something, okay, you go off track, then you have to bring it to a normal level to bring it down. And whatever was at too low level, you have to bring it up. That's the basics of medicine. If somebody has too much fire, has too much high fever, what does it mean? That is off balance. So how do you cool the fever? So there's certain foods you should eat when you have high fever. There's certain foods that have the cooling agent, right? There's certain thoughts you shouldn't think, because being fever means that you're hot. What gets people to be inflamed? Anger, that's very hot, right? Frustration, this is very hot. All of those emotions, you should cool them down, bring them down, cool them down. How? Chesed. Chesed is water. When you feel very upset, what you do? Do a lot of kind things. You know what it does? It cools down the fire. Okay? Now, what if you get too cold? It's like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to. You can't get excited. Now you have to raise the fire. So says the Ramchal, whatever you do, like do it with excitement. I'm not excited. Do it like you're excited. You know what happens? If you do it like you're excited, sooner or later you turn your body on. Okay? And what happens? Then you get balance again. So, I'm not going to the whole system, but the guy who is sitting that on court, on the throne, he's a shofet, if it's a mitzvah. He's a judge, if it's not a mitzvah. The result is, in many countries, most countries, going to court, it's like going to hell. Just think about it. Every day you spend in court, you have less time in hell. Why? You already do it. Whoever spent time in court, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not fun. And the last place people look for justice is in court. Why? There are drunk people over there. The lawyers, the judges, the whole system. The moment you feel the power, you feel the people's destiny is in your hand. Everybody get drunk. And the moment you get drunk, you don't sing anymore. You hurt yourself. A lot of people, I noticed that a lot of people are very nice. Very nice. You know why? They never had the chance to step on somebody. Give them the chance, whoa, you'll see how the beast comes out. Why? It's too powerful. So now why are we talking about it right now? Because this is the sign of Virgo. We are starting Elul. And we have 40 days from today to balance our act. Because we're going to get a new year soon. And the finish line is going to be Yom Kippur 40 days from today. So we better get our act together. If we didn't do the job till now, we should start doing it right now. Now, because the month of Elul gives us the ability. So what does it mean? They, as we said, they yashpil v'zeyarim. Some energies have to get up, some energies have to get down, till you really balance the whole process. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that? So before that, let's get it even more explained. You have it in verse 15 in the Zohar, Sulam, Pirush Sulam. It says like this. Because it speaks in this parasha a lot of the laws that belong to court. They are being described in this parasha. One of them is about witnesses. Now, in the Jewish court, there's no circumstantial events. It has no value. There are no witnesses. It didn't happen. That's an uncertainty principle. How do you really know what happened? You know, in modern courts, with all the humanism and modernism and all the tools and so on, still every year you hear about people who are being sentenced to all kinds of terrible punishments, and it's proven that they didn't do it. Years later. Why? When you're drunk, you don't see. You need to have a gift. And if you don't connect to the light, you won't have the gift to judge properly. And because you as a judge, you send somebody to jail, which it's not his fault. The Zohar says, you know what? Why was he sent to jail? Because it's not his fault, because he was judging other people for something they didn't do. Now they have to go. Now you're the judge. You had the choice. You chose wrong. Now what's going to happen? You're going to pay for it. No circumstantial evidences. So what if? So you need at least two witnesses. How is it connected to here? So says the Zohar as follows. It says that Rosh Hashanah, this is court, heavenly court. Who is going to go to court? Every living human being. Jews, non-Jews, everybody, every living human being. Kol bnei haolam. Everybody. On Rosh Hashanah, this is the day of creation. Okay? So what happens? Zeu shamar katuv. So said it says in the scripture, Tik'u b'chofesh shofar b'chodesh shofar b'kesel yom chagenu. It says about that in Psalm 39, but it says over there as follows: blow the horn, blow on the shofar, on the new moon, Bakese, when the moon is still covered, because new moon means you hardly can see the moon. Okay? Lay off for a day of holiday, for a holiday. What? What does it mean? What does it mean Bakese? So the Zohar is asking, my Bakese, what does it mean Bakese when it's covered? Why the moon has to be covered? Beyoma de sira mitkasa. Why the moon has to be covered? V'amai mitkaset. And why does it have to be covered? Begin the kat matei Rosh Hashanah. When Rosh Hashanah comes, when the first day of the year is coming, Yetesam lemitba dina livnoi kameku jabichu. All humans have to come to court. And the dark side is the prosecutor attorney. Who's the dark side? Is this the guy with the trident and the horns? That's for little kids. I don't know. Not even for little kids. They get them frightened for life. Don't even tell your kids about it. So who is that? This is the dark side. Who's the dark side? It's the dark side of each one of us. That part of our personality that when you don't watch over it, it becomes so big, it takes over. When you're drunk of power, when you're confused, when you're upset, when you don't find a way to balance yourself, the negative energies that you create becomes your prosecutor attorney. And that comes when? On Rosh Hashanah. Why does it come on Rosh Hashanah? I'll explain. Ve'u yema lei deyetei sadin. He needs witnesses. We bring the witnesses, the sun and the moon. You need two witnesses, right? Okay? But the moon is covered, so you don't have a witness. Okay? What does it mean spiritually? Okay. Says Rav Ashlag, on Rosh Hashanah, Chozer ha'olam lekadmuto, the whole world goes back to the beginning, to its inception. What does it mean? It means that the whole world goes back to the original primordial state. What does it mean? What was the purpose of the creation? The thought behind the creation, or the thought of the creation, is to create pleasure and to create creatures who enjoy that pleasure. Okay? What's the problem with everybody? We forget it. We're sure that life is about pain and suffering and misery. Why? Experience. Wherever you go, you experience misery and pain. Wherever you look around, misery and pain. So you think that's the purpose of the creation. There's somebody, God forbid, that is like in sadism, created the world in order to make people miserable, because that's what you see. How many people you know that are really happy most of the time? And how many people you know are miserable most of the time? And how many people you know that are nothing? Most of the time they're kind of like flatliners. Why?
No.
That try to avoid, not to think. You don't think, you don't get into trouble. Right? So the world goes back to the original state of inception. Which means, in that state, everything was really so primordial. And you have that going back to that point, to that position, to that place, gives all of us the opportunity to go back to ourselves that we lost during so many years and so many lifetimes. What does it mean going back to ourselves? It's like, who is the person I want really to be? What are the aspects of my life that I want to enhance? And what are the aspects of my life that I don't want to be part of anymore? This is what Rosh Hashanah is about. Why? The whole world goes into its inception because the whole world needs to get its life for another year. What does it mean? So Rav Ashlag explains in another place that basically every year on Rosh Hashanah we get enough life for one more year. Why? Because the Creator believes in us that we are so good. 1 year it's over. 1 year now. I love my kids. They are so perfect. He's optimistic without any cure. Incurable. 1 year it's over with. A new year is coming and we didn't finish. So we need to get another. No, this time 1 year is over. So he gives us the light of life for sustenance. Children, health, everything, only for 1 year. So when Rosh Hashanah is coming, the whole world goes into inception. That's why we say during the prayers, immediately after the shofar blowing, after every cycle of shofar blowing, we say Hayom Harat Olam. Today is the inception of the universe. Why? If we learn that this is like a restart of everything, if you get the opportunity to do a restart, what kind of stuff you're going to leave behind? Right? When you do a restart to your computer, the big restart, not a small restart, like really, like erasing everything and upgrading all the systems. You know, you go by each file, and some files you say, you know what? This program is not working well. Let's get rid of it. This kind of pictures, I don't like them anymore. This kind of movies I used to like, but what was I was thinking to myself? And then when you get your computer renewed, there's some freshness into it because all of that stuff You did not back it up, and you did not copy it into your new computer. So it's like flying. It's so much easier to use. You love your new computer. What do you know? It's the same old computer. No, it's a new feeling. Who are we talking about? It's about each one of us. We have the opportunity on Rosh Hashanah to leave behind all of those programs that are with bugs, that are not giving us pleasure anymore. You just need to let go of them. How do you do that? You have to some of the programs, you have to kill them. Sometimes before you close, you do a simple restart. There's some programs you have to kill in the middle of working. Why? They just slow down your computer. You get nothing out of them. You have to kill them. There are emotions, memories, feelings, all kinds of ideas and opinions that if you really go through the month of Elul and you go through them, it's not a spring cleaning, this is autumn cleaning. You go through all of these emotions and memories, and you say, do I really need to keep them in? And if the answer is, I do not need to keep them in because they don't connect me to anything good. So maybe it's time to let them go. Maybe it's time to release them. Even the symbolic act of tashlich. After the first day of blowing the shofar, in the morning, we finish, and then in the afternoon, we go and we throw our sins into the water. What do you mean to throw our sins? You really need to learn to be willing to let go of them. This is what we have this month for. How do I rebalance myself? How do I bring myself to that place in which I look at certain emotions and certain feelings and certain ideas and opinions, and I say, these programs do not give me any help. I need to go somewhere better. And what do you think? I just think like this, it's going to be like this? If you really think about it, if you really mean that, you're going to achieve that. And that's a process we are starting today. It's a process of teshuvah. And as we learn, teshuvah means to come back. To come back what? What do you do with a computer when you fix it? You bring it back the way it was created in the factory. Back to the original. So it's fresh, fast, and useful. Same thing. We were created perfectly. Why? I think the one who created us is perfect. And that's why he created us also perfect. The fact we accumulated so much dirt is because of bad maintenance. It's not because of you can have the nicest computer with a much higher, the top quality programs, everything. But you know what? If you abuse it, that's going to be working like get stuck every second. Why? You're not cleaning it, you're not maintaining it. The nicest computer, you can get it stuck. So, our job is to destroy our negativity during the coming 40 days. This is divided into two aspects. One aspect is, what's the best way to erase and destroy negativity? Bringing in light, positive light. One of the major tools is the slichot. The big part of the slichot, the two parts of it. One part is called the 13 attributes. 13 attributes, we are saying it during the slichot, and the top is on the day of Yom Kippur, that then we say it 26 times during Yom Kippur, the 13 attributes. Why? The story is like this. We learn, the Talmud says, that the Torah is a remedy against evil inclination. Okay? So, we got the Torah on Mount Sinai, that was the holiday of Shavuot. And then 40 days later, the golden calf. Moses goes, and not the second time, on Rosh Chodesh Elul, today, he goes back on Mount Sinai. Right? He stays there 40 more days. And what does he say to the Creator? Dear God, you gave us a remedy. It's not strong enough. Look what happened. Give us something stronger. You know? It said that's chutzpah, right? But chutzpah is very useful in spirituality. Look, he got it. What is God giving Moses? The 13 attributes. The 13 attributes have the power to draw the highest level of light. How do you erase negativity? Bring in the light. That's how it is. This is the secret. Okay? So that's what we have to do. So that's one tool. How else? Whatever gives you light. Studying the Zohar, reading the Zohar. There's a custom to read Tikkunei Zohar, starting today all the way till Yom Kippur, finish the whole Tikkunei Zohar. There's so much, you know, whatever makes you energized and feel fulfilled, you have to do it because every day. Why? This is a race. 40 days from today. It is a race. The race is how well are we going to be when it comes to the Tfilat Ne'ilah of Yom Kippur. And the Zohar says, this is the race to achieve true freedom. True freedom. From what? From the tree of knowledge, from being slaves. Slaves to our fears, slaves to our negativity, slaves to what people think about us, slaves to all kinds of addictions that we have. And we spoke about it in a previous parashot that was just a preparation for the month of Elul. Slaves to whatever does not serve the purpose that we will be happy, fulfilled, and enlightened. That's what we're here for. So we have to go through all of these programs, all of these, annoying programs running. Some programs go in the back in your computer, they slow it down. You have to go deep into the inside. This is the time to contemplate about our thoughts, about our emotions, about our opinions, all of that stuff. And the other way is when we find those emotions that we have to let go of them. How do you kill them? How do you destroy them? So the Zohar gives, that's the next thing, that's verse 2. He says the first thing, there are 4 different ways to kill a person, to execute a person. And the Zohar says, nowadays we don't execute people, but we have to execute our enemies. Who are our enemies? Anger, frustration, hatred, any kind of negativity any kind of a program that is not moving us forward. It's like a bug in the system. If it doesn't move you forward, you don't need it, right? And you have to ask yourself, okay, I have this emotion about, does it make you a better person? Does it make the world a more enlightened place? Yes, no. Ask your heart. If the answer is no, get rid of it. This is the time. Why? Rosh Hashanah. All of this energy for another year is coming in. You know what happens when you do speed charging of your phone and the wiring is not very well connected? It can burn it. It can burn it. Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment. Not Shfita, not Shofet, Yom Hadin. Why? If you're not ready, it can burn you, fry you. And that's why it says on Rosh Hashanah, the first day, all the evil people, they are judged to death. The righteous people are judged to life. All the rest is to hang out for another 10 days till Yom Kippur. It's not really, you give another extension for 10 days. How come Rosh Hashanah is so horrible to the evil people and so great for the righteous people? If your phone is maintained properly and clean and everything, the speed charge is great. In few hours, in few minutes, your phone is full, the battery is full. That's it. That's it. You have a great year. You have a lot of money, health, family, functioning. Everything is okay. Go, move on. המפתחות בפנים. Here's the car. The keys are inside. Go ahead. Go ahead. Have a great year. That's on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. But if you're negative, speed charge can get your phone on fire. Can get your life on fire. So you're already dead on Rosh Hashanah, but there's some machines, you take the plug out, you still like, they move on a little bit there, off, right? He's dead already on Rosh Hashanah. So, we all want that by Rosh Hashanah will be clean. All the bugs, all the systems that block it will be removed, so there's space for the battery to charge. You don't want those feelings, so you have to get rid of them before. What if Rosh Hashanah comes and we didn't get rid of him yet? First of all, the last moment, you know what it is when you go to court and you have to prepare just an hour before? Or you need to prepare just to figure out what you're going to tell the judge when you get into court? This is terrible. And everybody knows you didn't prepare. It shows off. Right? You better be prepared in a month from now appearing in court. That's why we have the shofar. The shofar has what? And the Zohar says the shofar has all elements. The first blow, the tkiyah, this is chesed. This is water. The second blow, the shvarim, this is the fire. The fourth blow, the truah, this is the earth. And the last blow, the tkiyah, this is air. If you know how to combine them, the whole thing about the blowing the shofar is to balance ourselves. Why blowing so many times? Some people are, okay, I heard the blow, one is enough, I'm going. The human soul is very intricate. At least you can divide it into 100 levels. 10 sefirot divided by 10. How many times do we blow on Rosh Hashanah? 101. So we go one step after another, step by step. We're cleaning. It's like you want to clean the system, you go file by file by file by file. You have basically major 100 files. So we go 100 times from one file to another, cleaning the bugs. And you have to cooperate. But what if instead of when the bugs were being cleaned, you decided to spend another time doing something else? So it didn't work. Rosh Hashanah didn't work. Why? It doesn't work automatically. You have to do something about it. And that's what the point is about. How do you prepare that? There are 4 different ways to kill our dark, negative side, that when it's still there present, it blocks ourselves from receiving the charge of Rosh Hashanah. Why 2 days? There are 2 kinds of judgments. The harsh judgment is the first day, the lenient judgment is the second day. Both of them, trust me, is not something you want to get with. Even most people have more lenient judgment. All these little things that annoy you, that's a lenient judgment. And sometimes that gets people into the harsh judgments because that is what brings the decay. So, let us see what are we doing then. The Zohar is giving us verse 2. המצווה שלאחר זה הוא לדון בחרב. There are 4 different ways of execution in the Torah. What does it mean? And it says, one of them is killing by sword, the second killing by suffocation, the third by stoning, and the fourth, fire. How do you apply it spiritually? Because you have to destroy your dark side by these 4 ways of killing. Don't even think about destroying other people this way. That's not Sages said, instead of killing the mice, close down the hole. If the mice came in and stole your cheesecake, okay, what do? Kill the mice? I think there are too many of them. And you have too many things to do than killing the mice. It's much more simple to close the hole, right? Which means blaming your troubles on other people. You know how many times you ran away from someone so far away, and then later on you realize somebody else took his place in a new place you went to? These people they're not the cause, they're an effect already. Now, so when we're talking about fire, sword, whatever, what does it mean? To kill the dark side. And how do you kill the dark side? By these 4 ways. And he says, I try to make it simple because it's like you need to read it in the Zohar itself. And it says like this. The first one, killing with a sword. Okay, which gives us a hint. One of the strongest ways to connect to spirituality is what is called teshuvah, wrongly translated into repentance. Repentance and teshuvah have nothing to do with each other. Teshuvah means coming back. It's a simple word. Coming back. The Zohar says, what does that mean coming back? So Rabbi is a close saying. The Zohar even says, Tashuv, hey. I'll explain. In the Tetragrammaton, that symbolizes the levels of awareness in this universe. The Yud of the four letters of the Tetragrammaton symbolize the source. We spoke about it last week. The source of life, sustenance, good luck, and everything. That's why the Yud looks like a point, because that's the source where everything starts from. That's the Yud. The Hey is the upper pool. The Vav is the pipes coming out, or the aqueducts coming out of the pool. The last Hey, this is the field. That's us. Now, many times when we go astray, when we just acquire those wavelengths of anxiety, negativity, hatred, upset, greed, power, pride, you just name it, anger, all of those negative emotions, what do? We get the Hey disconnected from the upper letters. And then we feel disconnected. We don't know why, but we're hungry all the time to affection, to food, whatever, each one with his addiction. We're never satiated, we're never happy. Whatever we get, it doesn't do it. It's like you're disconnected, and you are disconnected. So tshuva means to return the Hey back. It's getting the field, which is us, our lives, okay, back to connect to the pipes. How? In the physical world, in order to go back, you have to move something. In the spiritual world, the movement is by changing a frequency, because similarities attract. So if we are in a negative state of mind, negative means, as I said, something that is not balanced. Too much fire, too much water. Too much giving and then depletion. Too much taking and then getting burnt. Too much thinking without any actions, that's air. Too much of possession, that's earth. You have something too much without the balance. Your frequency is far away removed from the source. You cannot connect directly to the source because that's too much energy. You connect to the valve, to the aqueduct, to the pipes. So how do you do that? You have to return the Hey back to plug it in. How do you do it? You have to change consciousness. You have to return the balance. You have to bring water where there's not enough water. Sharing when there's not enough sharing. You need fire, which means excitement when there's not enough excitement. You need air when there's not enough thinking and balance. You need earth when you don't practical. You have great ideas, but you never manifest them. Oh, you have so many, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Only air, no actions. Oh, if I had $1 billion, I would do so much good. You don't have $1 billion, most of you, okay? What do you do with what you've got? Don't wait till you have $1 billion. Maybe you never have. Meanwhile, you know what? Start to show the Creator that you give with the $100 you have. Give a tithing from that. Then maybe you'll get 1,000. Then start with what you've got. So here it is. It says one meditation about the Youdkevitch, about the Tetragrammaton, is that when you fight your dark side with a sword, just visualize it. How does a sword look like? The Yud, this is the handle of the sword. The body of the sword, that's a Vav. The double edge of the sword, that's a two hays. So when you really connect to the name of God, you meditate on it, you contemplate on it, to awaken spirituality in it, it's like you killing the dark side with a sword. I'll give you an example. You go deep inside and you find that emotion that is negative. So what do? You kill it. How? You bring in the letters of the Youdkevitch. You bring the light through it. You just go into thinking, and that's what tshuva. This is where my thoughts are. This is where my emotions are. And this is where I want to be. So you switch. You do like role playing in your mind. This is the person, I said the wrong words. That's if I'm connecting to the Youdkevitch and I kill my own negativity, now what I'm going to say to that person. Okay? So you go back in time to the moment of the wrongdoing. You find that emotion over there and you try to do it right. Again and again and again. And how do you know you did it right? You see an instance in which you have a similar situation and you will start reacting differently. Okay? And how do you do it? Because instead of cooperating with that negative emotion, instead of cooperating with it, feeding it, making it stronger by saying, no, I'm right, is by killing it with injecting light. That's death by sword. The Youdkevitch, you draw the light in and you push it in to yourself, because that's what I want to feel and not what I used to feel till now. That's killing by sword. Now what about the other one? And also there's a higher level. The sword has a sheath, right? Mm-hmm. The sheath, usually you never say the name of God. Youdkevitch. What do you say? Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. This is the sheath that allows it to manifest. That's why when you say a blessing, when you read in the Torah, you see the Youdkevitch, the Tetragrammaton, but you pronounce Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. This is the sheath. You don't see the sword, you see it inside the sheath, right? And that's Aleph Dalet Nun Yud that you can hear, you can pronounce, you can say. Okay. Now, so when you combine them together, the sword and the sheath of the sword, then it's the most effective. And that's called the meditation of the Yichud. Because every time you say Baruch Atah Hashem, when you read in the Torah, you connect in your mind the two names together. That, what does it do? It draws the light of the creation inside you. When you are full with that light, you can remove now the negative attitude. You can remove the emotion. You can remove, let's say, you didn't say something wrong, you didn't do something wrong, somebody abused your feelings. So you keep the grudge. Carrying that grudge helps you? Mm-mm. Does it give you the ability to become who you are? No, pulls you back. So you return to that moment and you bring in that light, the empowerment of the Creator. So I am not the person who's being abused anymore. I'm the person who is in a godly place. A place in which whatever happened, it was for the good. Now, what does that connect to? Soon we're going to come to it. That's the next death is death by suffocation. So, suffocating people, let's say one way to suffocate people is to take says the Zohar, מצווה לדון בחנק. יש שם קו, ויוד כרוכה עליו. וקו הוא וו שנתפשטה מן היוד. בו בוו תופסת סמך מם. Okay? So, in order to suffocate someone, you need to strangle him. So you take a rope. The rope, that's a vav. The two hands holding the rope, its hand is 5, hey and hey. You already have vav, k. And the strangling, that's a yud. Because then you strangle the life force from the dark side. So when you meditate on the name of God, and you do not feed your dark emotions anymore. You strangle them. Because the moment you don't feed them, they wilt and die. The moment you look at it and you say, that's not me anymore. It's not what I want to be. It's not who I want to be. I want to be that person who's a godly person, who's connected to the light of God. This is what I want to be. This is what I want to feel. It's better for me. So what happened? You strangle those emotions, because the moment you don't feed them, every time they rise up, now I'm the godly person. What happens? Those emotions simply die, because they live only when you feed them. Now, the other one is stoning. Stoning. How do you stone? So he says, how do you stone? You take a stone, right? And you throw it. How do you stone the dark side? You take the thought that is occupied with the dark side and you throw it high, high above. Why? The moment you see that, whatever stuff that happened to us, there was always a good reason for that, because it always comes out good. Let's say the destruction of the temple. It was terrible. But because of the destruction of the temple, we were forced to reinvent ourselves. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he leaves Jerusalem in the middle of the siege. He fakes sick, and then he fakes dead. They take him out. He makes a deal with Vespasianus. He says, I'm not in the war, but you give me Yavne, the city of Yavne, and the wise people of Yavne. And give me an autonomy. And I'll give you a blessing, you'll become the next emperor. And that's the deal. In Yavne, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai set the rules of how a Jewish community should look like. And especially for the Jewish people, Yavne becomes our own French Revolution. Equality. Before that, you wanted to be a priest, you had to be from a priestly family, Kohen. You want to be a leader, you had to be from a very respected family with a lineage, whatever. It's like, that was like France before the revolution. Immediately after that, the Jewish people turns into something else. You reach high just because you are wiser, because you worked hard, because you are better. Who are your parents? It doesn't matter. How do you know? 60 years after the destruction, Rabbi Akiva is the leader of the Jewish people. He comes from the lowest caste in the nation. How come? This is a no way. It's not, you're not on the top because your father has something to do with that. You're on the top because you did it. You got there. And that's its equality. And everybody is equal, and everybody has the right. Oh, what about the Kohanim? You want to bless the people on Shabbat morning? That's very nice. Sunday morning, Monday morning, what do you want to bless the people during? Everybody will be, as long as you're a nice person. If the community doesn't like you, you can't bless them. These rules are new, 2,000 years old. So, and then you start to realize that the authority, if you are just there because you are better, you can also mess it up. So that since then Jews are not so good with authority. Yes, you are a leader, it doesn't mean you're right all the time. And it doesn't mean I'm going to shut up when you make a mistake. We're going to tell you where you're making a mistake. Okay? And, this is very important for everybody's health, because you have to answer for a higher authority. And you have to start with people. So, when you stone how do you stone the dark side? Is when you say, well, this is terrible, it happened. And then you say, it was all for the good. Because what's the source of the creation? To create everything for the purpose of enlightenment, for everyone to experience pleasure. This is the Yud, going back to the source. When you take your thought and you throw that thought to the highest place, you're stoning the dark side. Because your thought is that stone that kills him. The moment you say it was for the good, I don't know how, one day I will, but I know it's going to be for the good. Then the hand holding the stone, that's 5, that's a letter Hey. The arm, that's a letter Vav. The shoulder that gives the push, that's the other Hey. Youdkevitch Vavke. Again, that's death by stoning. And death by fire, says the Zohar, we'll finish with that. Ladun besrefa lasamech mem. To judge the dark side by fire. How? Al yedei etzim, by wood. In order to set the fire, you need wood. Okay? Ashrei hu haguf shu etz. Praiseworthy is the body that is the wood for the fire. Va'ivarim shelo hem etzim, and his organs are pieces of wood in the bonfire. She'isof b'meh, so the fire can rise up in that wood. Shu ner mitzvah, because that's the candle of the mitzvah. When you light the fire of the candle, bechol ever, in every organ, and you do it with excitement, that's the best way to burn the dark side. When a person is excited about everything he does. And how do you know he's excited? He gets all his body on fire. He's running quick. He's moving his hands quick. Everything, every part. That's Bekol Ramach Avarim V'Shasagidim. With all 248 organs and 365 sinews. And you do it with such an excitement. If there was a bad thought, it's burnt. Where is it? I don't know what happened to it. It got fire. It got in the fire. To burn the dark side by the upper Shekhinah with the wood. And that's when you live like this, and especially in the coming week. One of the ways to pull the energy, as we said, that's in the Slichot. And the very important part in the Slichot, as we said, this is the 13 attributes. And a very important part in the 13 attributes is Notzer Chesed La'alefim. Notzer Chesed La'alefim, giving grace to the thousands. Okay. 2,000 of generations. But there's a deeper meaning. First of all, Notzer Chesed La'alefim, say the Kabbalists, his initials Nachal, a river. By saying the 13 attributes with excitement, you pull in a river of positive light to wash whatever is dirty. But there's another meaning. Notzer Chesed, we said, why do people get off track? They get something more than the other. Most times, it's judgment. There are 3 names of God that are connected to judgment. Aleph Ke Yud Ke, I am what I am, but it's really Ehyeh, Elokim, and Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. All 3 starts with an Aleph. Notzer Chesed, giving or imbuing Chesed, loving kindness, into the judgments. Nachal. When you pull that upper river of light of love into the judgment inside you, every time we say Notzer Chesed La'alefim, the Zohar says you have to wash it in. Wash all your inside. And then the last word is Venake. Gimatria, mikveh, cleaning. So you put yourself into a mikveh and cleansing all the negativity. There's many more secrets, but these are the highest. So if you do it again and again, that has the power for cleansing. Everybody should get some actions every day in the next 40 days. So by the time, 40 days from now, the end of Yom Kippur, we'll be much more free than we are today. Thank you, everyone. Chodesh Tov.